Hello Dream Team, welcome along to Le Petit Pod. As far as GBR is concerned, with our very good friends at Continental Tyres, it's another day, it's another dollar. Haters will always hate, but here we are in Conti Carlo. See what I've done there? No?
No, I saw what you did. I'm not sure I was on board with it completely.
They will be delighted.
They will
with
be
such
delighted.
Exposure. Let me set the sights and sounds for those of you who are listening to this week's pod. To my right, we've got Jimmy's, which is Prince Albert's nightclub, home of the World Rugby Awards for the last 7 or 8 years or so. Behind us, we've got Tinds Dinghy, which sadly couldn't get any closer.
That's one of your gigs that you do that you don't invite us to, didn't it?
I've tried to get you invited, but they've said no thanks.
Black Eyed Gin's going to be there this year.
Black Eyed Gin. No, it's World Rugby Awards.
Oh,
I'm not doing it this year, though. I've been sacked
Have
off.
you?
Yeah.
Why?
Hugo's taken over.
Yeah.
Oh, Shugs is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Dick.
And we are here in the sunshine of Monaco off the back of a very good lunch, just basically beginning to look ahead to what is going to be another thumping weekend
Round 3.
at Rugby World Cup 2023. We're chewing
Big
through the
games
gears
in
now,
round
aren't they?
3.
We are obviously often accused of being all England, but on this one, there is absolutely no doubt there is a trio of fascinating games this weekend. Set your alarms for South Africa against Ireland, Scotland against Tonga, and Wales against Australia.
I just mean to remind you, you know.
Well, you know what I mean. I was sort of pop it in your calendar,
Okay.
diarise, get your PA to schedule a
I'm not putting any of
meeting
that nonsense
reminder
in my diary.
Nonsense.
for South Africa Ireland first of all. So this is the one where the World Cup really begins to go up a gear or three. I mean, France New Zealand was obviously very exciting, but this is now jeopardy time with obviously Scotland in the pool as well. Give us a little overview of how well these two have performed. Box and Ireland coming into this one.
Look, I think they've both been extremely professional. What you would expect, the way that they can play. Ireland, it's a really tricky group for Ireland because they obviously have had the easier 2 games up first, and they've dispatched them in professional manner. They've not taken any game easy because they know that it might come down to points if someone manages to beat someone. And they've been impressive. They've just got players upon players, and the pack's got depth, strength in depth. A back line have been firing. Johnny Sexton obviously coming back after his ban and slipped straight back in, total point scorer. They look what we expect them to look like against those two. Obviously rolling into South Africa, who again have just done what they do at Rugby World Cups and just made it look easy. Dispatched Scotland, really just strangled the life out of them. You know, I thought that Scotland would have a good crack at them, play in their faces and cause some problems, but they went after Finn Russell. His body must still be bruised and battered. And then, they were ruthless. Ruthless in their Romania game, you know, running out 76-0. I think they're both exactly where we expected them to be in terms of their performance levels. Arguably first and second in the world, or 2 of the top 3 in the biggest game. And it's massive for Ireland, because if Ireland can win this, you know, it takes a lot of pressure off for next week.
So, and that contextualises why I think this is a bigger game than France New Zealand, because those two highly likely to always go through, whereas the loser of this, well, if Ireland lose this, suddenly that Scotland game looks very, very, very clunky, chunky, significant indeed. What's your 2p on the head-to-head that we've got?
Well, look, I think we haven't talked a lot about Ireland to a lot of the Irish fans' chagrin because we haven't needed to. We haven't needed to because they haven't really been tested. You know, as Tins has said, you know, 15th win in a row. 20 tries they've scored. Johnny Sexton, as you said, top point scorer. Look very settled, but they haven't been tested. This is a massive test.
Wodiaki tearing up trees.
I just think, look, this is a massive test. And to see whether this team have the resilience. Now, they've seen them do it before. They've done it consistently now. 15 wins, as we said. They've got that. But it's very different to do it in a World Cup against a team like South Africa who specialise in World Cups. You know, they don't play the most exciting rugby. They can be frustrating, but they're incredible at what they do. So I'm very excited about that. I think, as you said about, Tonga versus Scotland, Fafita playing number 8, made some great yards and he came off the bench. Look, they're a super physical side. They've got guys that can do all sorts of stuff. I'm interested with how Scotland go and whether they, what they're going to do, because I was disappointed against South Africa. I didn't think they really fired. I thought they got out-muscled a little bit, which was frustrating. Some guys, made good account of themselves, but they didn't play as well as we thought against the blitz defence. But look, this is definitely the weekend of rugby that's going to decide so much what goes on. Who's got what it takes and who's a tournament side, because this is where the business starts. These games, the warm-up games don't matter. things that have gone before don't matter. This is where the business starts.
And then you roll that onto. I was slightly disappointed with Tonga against Ireland. To be fair, I think we expected.
In what capacity?
Well, we with the names that they now have in their backline, we sort of expected them to carve open more, didn't we?
Yes.
Charles Pitt did make 90 metres, through some mad runs.
Yeah, I mean, he's still
and he stepped
insane.
Did he? Was it? It must have been against Ireland where he stepped. I can't remember who he stepped, but honestly, it was
he jumped drifting.
I think it was Hugo Keenan who ended up on his
goes
knees with his nose in the grass.
and then turned right.
That was horrific. That's an ankle breaker, but there's nothing you could do. I just run up and vaguely dive somewhere near him.
Yeah, what you got to do when he jumps in the air, you've got to run after him, but it's so hard to do.
I think you're absolutely right. That I was potentially, one could say you were disappointed in the final score for Tonga, but I think if Tonga had played against a France, as we saw against Uruguay, Wales as we saw against Portugal, England as we saw against Japan, I think Tonga would have made a hell of a nuisance. Which means
we'll find out, won't we?
We will find.
We'll find out because it's Scotland now have to go out and put on as many points as they can.
Is that a dangerous mindset when you're
it's
playing
a
against a team like Tonga?
If you get sucked in and you throw a couple of intercepts or something goes wrong, you're actually killing your tournament later down the line. But they're in a group where points could be
win prizes.
So they've got. Well,
I mean, this is a knockout game for Scotland.
They have to get a full point. They have to get a bonus point win.
Because Ireland
then they've got
South
to
Africa
pile
likely
on
to.
Because let's say South Africa do win and they get a chance to knock Ireland off. They don't want it to be they don't want to have to try and win by 50 against that, because that's not going to happen, is it? So they have to go out in these next couple of games and actually absolutely go after every point they can get. And but it's got to be done the right way. I think you've still got to build a score. You've got to do what Ireland did. It was quite close up to half time and then you pull away. It's going to be interesting whether Scotland have got the mindset to do that, and or are they just going to go, let's get a win, or they. His finger.
I think you're right. I think it's win plus bonus.
Yeah. I think as well. There is a bit of a cliche, but the sides that have done well have the scoreboard takes care of itself in regards to just taking every opportunity and being sensible. World Cup. Club rugby. You risk things. Six Nations stuff. You might be pushing. World Cup rugby is win at all costs, and like with George Ford knocking over those drop goals, taking every penalty. 3, 6, 9, 12 before, and I think most games in the first half are going to be pretty close. It's the side that can kick on but keep that positive negative balance correct, making sure they're just consistently backing up positives, not going and getting flustered, going negative, positive, negative. And that's things like kicking the 3 points, coming back, winning your kickoff, looking after it, securing it, exiting on your own terms, and going to play again.
This is where, and we were talking about this coming into the tournament as well, this is where World Cups change dynamics of games like Scotland-Tonga. So I can't remember the final score, but I think Kyle Steyn scored 4 against Tonga 2 years ago in an absolute rout at Murrayfield. But suddenly they're coming into this game, they're thinking potential try bonus point, they're thinking, Christ, we can't step up. Yeah. The stakes are so much higher, and therefore the context is so much richer as a result.
Do you know where I said that it was Ireland that are going to do it tough?
Yeah.
It's now flipped massively that Scotland have got to do it tough because they don't get a week off.
Yes, because they've had their bye.
So they now have to go and pile points on it 2 back-to-back weeks and then go and take Ireland in the last game to potentially... I mean, they'll always know where they're at, but they can't really rest now. They've got to hope their teams can stay together. Now they have to get... I know it's tier 2, and then they'll have to go tier 1, but they're not getting that break that the other main contenders are having between where they're getting after this game. They're going to get a week. I can't remember what week we're on. After the next game, they're going to have a week off.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
amazing what results do.
How it's suddenly how everything is now flipped, and Scotland are under a bit of pressure now.
I think as well, just from a selection point of view,
pressure comes off a little bit if Ireland lose. Oh no, it doesn't. It ramps up. It's good.
Yeah. There is nowhere to hide.
No hiding
but this as well for from a squad perspective as well. This is where especially for those teams, you've had your opportunities first couple of games. When actually Scotland have had it pretty tough to start with, and have gone straight into this. Ireland have had it pretty easy to go into it with all respect to the teams they played, and now they're going to make a decision. Once you now get in this kind of level of rugby moving forward, you know what your squad's going to be. And as I said, we said on the kind of the main pod, earlier in the week. Once you start knowing, if you've had an opportunity, you were going to have had it. You might get another one. England versus Chile, you're going to see people getting an opportunity. Australia versus Wales, your two best teams need to go at it. Scotland versus Tonga, your two best teams need to go at it. Ireland versus Africa, two best teams. The rest of it, every bit of rugby, after probably the week after, is that's it. You're done. If you haven't had an opportunity, you haven't put your name down, and that changes the dynamic, and that suddenly tests which players are good in a squad, who can who can be the bin juice, who can keep the morale high, who can deal with it, who starts missing their families, who starts going off tour. If they lose and you've suddenly got a horrific draw and the pressure on, who keeps it together? How do the coaches stay motivated? Can be pretty attritional out here.
Keep calm as well.
Keep calm. So all of the dynamics come into it as it gets further to a head, and that's what tests the side.
Moving on to Malcolm Marx is out as well. And interesting, the box call it Andre Pollard.
Yeah, but Malcolm Marx, everyone's Devo, because I really rate Malcolm Marx. He's an incredible player.
He is a phenomenal
I've been
player.
stuffed in a load of nauseous African groups, so I managed to evacuate without ever commenting because I can't deal with it, because they care more about rugby than I care about anything in life.
Including yourself? Not quite there.
Not quite there. Obviously, love myself.
It's different levels.
That is different levels, but they're devoted about Malcolm Marx.
You in a group with yourself where you just chat to yourself?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I go. That's a great idea.
Great guy.
Looks good
What's
today.
James Haskell been up to today? Here's a couple of
fit.
photos of James Haskell.
Puts pictures on them
Yeah,
himself.
God, you're fit. Thanks, James Haskell. Thanks, James Haskell. But no, I think with them, they are really devastated about him, because I think he was one of their best players. Or has been for a certain
And a leader.
He's a reliable leader.
Yeah.
Right, come on, let's do Wales-Australia, because we're talking about South Africa-Ireland as potential winners. We're talking about Scotland having to win in order to get through. This Wales-Australia game is just, it's almost one of those ones you have to watch between your fingers, because the stakes for whoever loses, it's going to get ugly potentially.
We talked about it. On the main show, however many days ago it was now, we talked about. You came up with that ludicrous game. I don't listen to it back. So
it was a very easy game.
No, it wasn't. It was like panic.
It was
don't
excited.
Panic.
Don't get too excited. Panic. Don't panic.
Right, and obviously we talked about Wales. Well, we went in panic, and then we changed it because they're top of the pool with 2 bonus points. So actually, don't panic.
But Jamie Roberts said
Australia on fire.
Well, no, then we changed it to not too excited.
Don't get too excited about it, because they haven't shown. They should have lost to Fiji.
Yeah.
But I'd say with Australia, it's panic. It's like panic. It's like panic. Get your tin hats on, fix bayonets, and go for it, because it's Gatland versus Jones, Australia versus New Zealand.
Wales?
It's Australia versus New Zealand.
Oh, I
isn't
see,
it?
in the coaching box.
Coaching box.
Yeah.
And then it's obviously, Australia versus Wales. You've got all the confrontation. You've got 2 coaches. One who's got all the
two coaches that throw in hand grenades.
Yeah,
left,
and a bit of previous World Cups as well. With Gatland obviously getting into them 4 years ago.
And one's got more trophies than the other one. One's got a point to prove. One's, I think, playing for his job.
So can I?
Not that I think he should be in that case. I just think that's the way the world goes.
Is it worth? Speculation is futile but fun, I suppose. Is it worth speculating on what happens to Eddie if Australia do not produce a performance and a win?
I think. Well,
that is then 1 win from 11.
I think
out of the World Cup for the first time at pool stages.
I wouldn't get rid of him, because obviously he changed the team, put a young team in there to go and do that.
But
and
you
to go
can't
on,
use World Cups for future planning.
I agree.
You can't.
I don't. And also, I think if they'd lost a few, but 1 more, you could get away with that as an excuse.
It's worth remembering they are the hosts in 4 years' time as well. And Australian sporting public needs to find a reason to love this Wallaby outfit.
Yeah.
And at the moment,
Eddie tried to. I think. Well, when you saw the first bits, he came on and tried to do that and re-educate him, even doing press conferences in the hat and all the kind of stuff, and talked about kind of making Australia
maybe
going
finish
all
that
the
by giving the journalists out there the opportunity to uppercut themselves.
Yeah, I still think. Or we're getting sort of ahead of ourselves. I think if you look at Fiji,
I know, but that's the fun of it, isn't it? That's why we do what we do.
If you look at Fiji, they've beaten England, and then they should have beaten Wales. Okay, they didn't, but they were fully in the mix to beat Wales. Then they've got then they've just held on. All the pressure was Australia on them at the end. It could have it could have gone down the other way, and they could have won at the last play of the game. So I think this is more of a judge of where Australia are. If they can go,
this is the apex.
Well, of course. So this is where you're going to find it. If they win, this group's blown right open again. Australia going into Portugal and Wales going into Georgia.
And last time they played, Georgia beat Wales.
And last time Georgia played Wales, they beat them. So,
And Fiji rounded off against Portugal as well, which, if they know what they've got to do there, that's going to get the crowd behind them.
This group's just getting more exciting, and it's jumped way more in Fiji's favour in terms of where they're going, because they've played the best two. They won one, lost one. One of the others got to lose, and they've just got to go put as many points on Georgia and Portugal as they can.
We saw Jamie Roberts for a drink the night of the England-Japan game, and he said Fiji beating Australia is the worst possible result for Wales.
Yeah.
Do you go up? I mean,
I understand why he said it.
there's some massive. This is high jeopardy sport.
Yeah.
Because it is the kind of result where heads will roll.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to the fact that I think that Australia have played better rugby and just not come away. You think of the first half against New
Gatland,
Zealand,
though, isn't it?
and everything else. But it's made for this game's made for Gatland, but I also think it's made for Eddie.
Do you? Because why?
Because his back's against the wall.
Back's his wall. He's done it for years.
But he's
done it
got
in
to
World
get
Cups.
kids. He took his Carter Gordon off after 50 minutes. Like,
But then
he does that a lot.
but he makes decisions. Would you say that Australia finished the stronger team? Yes, they did. So taking Carter Gordon off was the right decision because they finished stronger.
And they look better, but
and
they
looked
squandered
better
chances.
towards the end. And squandered chances.
I think-
so I think he made the right
Right
decision.
decision.
But as a player, don't hide behind the fact you're 22 years old, so you can't take him off. Well, a load of bullshit.
I'm not saying
you've got
that.
You've got to do what needs to be done. Just
I
because he
love
took
it.
out his
Look at
golden
this.
boy, he's subbed Luther Burrell after 36
And it
minutes.
was the right decision at that point in time.
so if you're lumping your house on one of Wales or Australia, where are you going to put your money?
Well, no, I want it for the
It's a
good
big
of the game.
house.
I want
Come
it-
on, high stakes.
I want it for the good of the game and the good of the last game, the groups. I would love Australia to win and just fucking flow this.
You masochist.
But
Yeah,
it
well,
also
yeah.
benefits Fiji. We all love Fiji.
Yeah. Look,
I'm riding a Fiji wave.
Again, when people say something,
Vinegar.
I'm not invested. Like, because if people think you're English, you hate. I'm much more about the game,
Yeah.
the jeopardy, the vibe. I don't give a shit
I get
about what
that.
shirt you're wearing. I'm not asked. I just want to see the
on
best
this
team win.
group, it would be a travesty if Fiji don't go through.
Yeah.
So for that to happen, we need.
Hold
We
on
need
tight.
Australia
Okay,
to
it
win.
is time for Mystic Mike's predictions in partnership with our friends from City Index, global provider of spread betting and CFD trading. Remember, you can join in too with our Superbru game. We'll give you the details of that in just a moment. Let's go through the fixtures first up. We haven't really talked about Argentina Samoa, but the winner will be.
The winner will be Argentina.
Argentina, I think I'd go with that as well. Any complaints on that, Hask? Argentina Samoa? No, Argentina.
I would say Argentina. It's going to be tight, but 13.
Okay. South Africa, Ireland. Tin's first up.
South
Here we go.
Africa Island. I actually.
So whichever one you pick, you will be ostracised yet further from the community of South Africa or Ireland.
Yeah.
The Boks don't really like you very much. The Irish didn't, but might do a little
Yeah.
bit more than they once did.
Yeah.
Draw.
I said that I want a Northern Hemisphere team to win this, so that means that Ireland have to win.
Okay.
I'm going to go Ireland by 5.
I mean, I just think it's hard because Ireland haven't necessarily been tested, but they've played well and they've done so, and they're so well drilled and they've beaten them before. I think Ireland by 10,
Oh,
Wow.
yes, I like it.
but
Stick your knickers on the line.
You ain't going to the Cape.
I ain't gonna
anytime
put. I
soon.
wouldn't put money on it. I wouldn't back my own bet, but I'm going to say for purposes of
Ireland
this.
by 10.
But I think, South Africa. They're so good at what they do. But
South Africa favourites. Just having a
Are
look.
they
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
-2.
Jeez, I mean, it's the flick
It's
of a
tight,
coin, isn't
yeah.
it? It is the flick of a coin. It's a red card, yellow card, late penalty.
It's that way.
yes.
It's where you just hope that both teams turn up, and you just
We're talking
fall-
about it for the rugby, not the
you
referee.
fall,
Yes,
yeah, you fall
that's
into
it.
it, and you just see
Let
a
rugby be the winner.
A humdinger.
So you've gone Ireland, you've gone Boks by 10.
not Ireland by 10.
Oh, Ireland by 10, I beg your pardon. You've gone Ireland by 10. Okay, Scotland, Tonga.
Scotland by. They've got to do it. I mean, Scotland by 40.
1-4.
40.
40.
Yeah.
It's truth.
Margin is -21.
Yeah, I was going to say 20.
I think, I was going to say Scotland by 25.
Okay, nice. Wales, Australia. Your old coach Gatland, your old coach Eddie. One of them will hate you.
I mean, I'm not sure most of them.
Unbelievably, Australia are favourites.
Are they really?
-1, yeah.
These are proper roll of the dice.
Australia
Yeah,
by 11.
Australia by 11.
Yep.
The winner will be.
I'm going to say, God, I hate having to. Australia by 7.
Really? So that means I would be right with Wales beating Fiji, Fiji beating Australia, and Australia beating Wales. So you're giving Wales a losing bonus point, and you are not. Dun, dun, dun. Do with that what you will, ladies and gents. I wouldn't put too much money on it, but it's fun nevertheless. Could you just very quickly, Michael, take us through the runners and riders in our Superbru League, please? And then I'd like you to go through in reverse order how the three of us are getting on.
And I want to give a quick shout out to who is at the top of the leaderboard after round 2. That is Heathy.
Well done, you Heathy.
24.75. He's edged it from Skizzle.
I think it's Sixel.
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 What game that would be?
Sixel.
Sixel.
I am currently lying in 1,721st position.
Say that again, please, Michael.
1,721st position. I have missed 2 games, which ended up as draws, so that's on my bad.
Mystic Mike not really
Hask
dialed
is
in.
in 1,454th, and Alex is in 877.
Hello.
Yeah, but don't forget I beat absolutely cane both of you, and you were in like 12,000th place.
Just to confirm that, ladies and gents, Alex in 877th. I'll take that right here, right now. If you haven't signed up, you still can. Head over to superbru.com/GBR to get involved. And thank you, as always, to City Index for their support. That is it from us. We're off to Tinds Dinghy for a little post-match debrief. Great to have you with us. Bring on what is going to be a belting third weekend here at the Rugby World Cup. If you are thinking about getting out here, click buy and get yourself to France. It is very, very special to be here in the sunshine. Thank you to Continental Tyres for their continued support of all things GBR. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.